Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone from wherever you join in our Insights for ISV webcast session today. And it's my great pleasure to welcome three experienced partners to tell us their story, give us their testimonial, introduce themselves, and tell us also about the solution that they have put on OCI or developed on OCI. My name is Johannes Baumgartner. I'm in the learning, coaching, and communication team for Alliance and Channels under Stefan Diedericks in EMEA. So I am working together with all the partners in EMEA and partners, ANC partners and ISVs. And in this function, it's my pleasure to host together with Lionel Dubriel this ninth webcast, actually in the series of 9 sessions on Insights for ISVs. This is the last one in the series today, as mentioned. So we had a couple of other sessions already, very interesting one, technical ones, and also commercial ones, and all of them have been recorded. As well as this one, so you can listen to this one again, watch it again, share it with your colleagues, whoever is interested in it, or look at it again if you cannot really join and stay through the whole session. Happy to introduce Jean-Bart Hebbenaar and Michel Jonkman from Epicenter to tell us about their solution they have built around HCM. Well, I think this is it. This is all I had to say in the beginning, at least. Let me then switch over to Jean-Bart and Michel, who will also give us their view on or their intro on Epicenter and their solution, and the view why OCI was the platform of choice for them. Jean-Bart, platform is yours.
Thank you, Johannes. And good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen okay?
Sorry, I was already on mute. All is fine.
All is fine. Very good to hear. Okay, so thanks again, Johannes, for the introduction and also the opportunity to present here on this interesting ISV webinar session. So today I'll kick off by giving a short explanation on who Epicenter is, what we do within the Oracle domain, and how we service our customers. Then I'll hand over to Michel Jonkman, my colleague, who will explain a little bit more about our decision to move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and run our integration platform accordingly. So just a little bit about us, about Epicenter. We've been an ISV partner for quite some time now. We have been an Oracle partner for even much longer, about more than 23 years now. Always started in the on-premise, more PeopleSoft domain, and have made the switch to the Oracle Cloud applications about 5 years ago. So what we do is we support Oracle HCM Cloud customers in integrating their systems to third-party providers. Our slogan is connecting Oracle to the world, and that truly is exactly what we stand for. So we really help our customers in connecting their HCM Cloud instance to all third-party systems that have a dependency of HR data. How do we do that? Well, we have an integration track record, as I like to call it, and over the years we've deployed over 100 interfaces across more than 65 countries. And we do this with our consulting workforce of 40 plus integration specialists that usually have a lot of HCM background, and that is particularly useful when we work on HCM cloud integration projects. We do this across more than 12 countries, where our specialists are based over 12 countries, and from there they support on our global deployments of integration initiatives. Why so many different countries? Mainly due to the fact that if we have people localized in these different countries, we have the ability to deploy multilingual projects as well. it's very useful to have all these different languages on board of projects when you kick off these global projects. So some of the vendors that we integrate to, I'm sure you'll recognize some of these. Some of them you may not recognize. So obviously we integrate with market-leading system vendors out there, but also lesser-known vendors that that organizations may deal with. So a lot of our customers are multinationals. Will have, for instance, a very complex, let's say, a payroll system landscape. That's often a common requirement we come across, where Oracle HCM Cloud is the master HCM system of record and needs to integrate with all these third-party payroll vendors. Some of them which are market leaders, others which are lesser known. Hence, we still have the ability to connect to all of these. I have a short little video that I would like to share with you that kind of summarizes our services in a nutshell. After that, a few more slides, and then I'll hand over to my colleague, Michel.
No matter how specific or intricate your HR integration requirements are, Epicenter's managed integration services on Oracle Cloud has got you covered. Because no one needs outdated, bad quality, double entry data. But our next generation integration tooling can help organizations improve the quality of their HR data to unlock its strategic value. Our service comes with a pay-as-you-integrate subscription model and incorporates a global library of turnkey interfaces. Managed integration services is scalable and cost-effective from the very first interface implemented and maintained, giving you the opportunity to leverage a proven, fully configured interface solution with data mapping and conversion that are suited to your Oracle HCM integration needs. With Epicenter, you are warranted for tomorrow's requirements today. Interested? Get in touch today to find out more.
Okay, so that was just a nice short summary of our different services we provide, and just touch on that a little bit more. Obviously, as I said, our mission is to connect Oracle to the rest of the world, and over time we have just received many more requirements on the art of data integration between Oracle HCM Cloud and third-party systems. That really brings us to this wheel of services that we provide, and really kicking off with the most common one is the support of outbound and inbound integrations. When I say outbound, I mean from Oracle HCM Cloud to a third-party system, but also the way back. So really the ability to support bi-directional interfaces. The next item here is pre-configured integrations, and this is a huge cost saver in the sense that once we have built an interface between Oracle HCM Cloud and a third-party system, let's say a very common one like Active Directory by Microsoft, we can actually reuse the configuration of that interface for our next customer without having to reinvent the wheel. It's a pre-configured or turnkey solution that we could pretty much redeploy very, very quickly. So that's the beauty of the cloud and running it on Oracle Cloud infrastructure as well. Data migration, repetitive exercise, always needs to be looked after in any type of migration exercise when a customer deploys Oracle HCM Cloud. And hey, data migration is really just the art of migrating data from a target system into Oracle HCM Cloud. And that's how we treat it. Through our flexible integration tool, we're able to support a very smooth data migration process. Realignment is actually the same as data migration. However, it's more designed around the repetitive notion of migrating data, making sure the data remains aligned between within your system landscape. So it's really running repetitive exercises on ensuring that the data is 100% in sync. And then finally, data scrambling. We all have, the notion of having multiple environments available in the Oracle HCM Cloud world, as in many others. But in the test and the dev environments, mostly the non-production environments, there's always a strong need for scrambling the data, predominantly the personal identifiable information that needs to be scrambled in order to give access to those employees that need to access those non-production environments for testing purposes or training, for instance, or development work. And that's something that we pick up as well through OCI, completely hosted, and we're able to support that service. So, having said that, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Michel, who will explain a little bit more about the OCI components and how Fit4Cloud runs on OCI. Michel, over to you.
Thank you, Jean-Bart. So before we go into explaining why we chose OCI specifically for the Fit4Cloud application, I think it's important to just highlight some of the components which we use, which our application uses. So to give a very brief overview, I'd like to make this split first between two models which we use, which we offer to customers to run Fit4Cloud. So the first one is the single tenant option. And within the single tenant option, we've got 4 instances or 4 environments, sorry, with, well, the default setup, I guess everyone knows, in development, test, production, etc. So within each of these environments, there's always 2 primary OCI components which we use. The first is a compute instance, which the application server runs. And then we have a database VM, so it's a virtual machine. It's not the autonomous database. It's really a dedicated machine specifically built for Fit4Cloud. So there's a combination of technology which we use. It's Java, Oracle, Apex, and PostgreSQL. So the decision to use Oracle components was almost automatically because we use the components which are within the Oracle brand. And the reason we have a single tenant option and a multi-tenant option is that some types of customers generally prefer to have their data separated from other customers, and the size of such customers is comparable to more local clients in the Netherlands, for example. Makes it so that a single tenant option is better. We even have the option that a customer can decide to have their own contract with Oracle for OCI, and on that instance we can then, or that tenant, we can install Fit4Cloud. So yeah, it's really a level of flexibility we need, which is something that Oracle OCI could offer as well. So the multi-tenant option, the big difference which you see, of course, here is that you've got 2 environments, dev and test combined on one, and production and hotfix on one. And again, we have a compute instance and a database VM. So this is, of course, our preferred option because this has a level of flexibility where we can use these resources to host multiple customer environments. And this is really a level of flexibility that that Oracle allows, because you can easily scale these instances up and down. You can assign additional OCPUs if you've got an additional customer. And the way we separate data is by using the Oracle multi-tenant model, and that's using pluggable databases. So every customer has their own pluggable databases, and that's how we ensure the segregation of data, which is a very important topic in regards to GDPR, of course. So the key selection criteria for OCI, and this is where you reach the reason we went with OCI. The global coverage is a very important one here. Since we operate globally, we sometimes have customers who operate from entirely different continents as opposed to Europe. And if they've got an Oracle HCM Cloud instance which is in that continent, then it's of course the best to keep the Fit4Cloud instances in the same continent as well. And Oracle has that level of flexibility. Within your single contract of OCI, you can easily switch to a different data center and set up instances there, which is absolutely amazing, because that prevents us from having to go through new purchasing agreements and everything within different countries. The Oracle domain, that's another big one since we deal with Oracle HCM Cloud customers. We try to keep everything within the same data center as well. In regards to GDPR, it's always a big discussion when data has to leave a certain data center and go across the line to another data center. So staying within the Oracle domain, we can keep this all in the same data center. So the brand confidence is a big one as well. The customers already have a contract with Oracle for their HCM Cloud instance. They're used to to already having the technology from Oracle this way. So again, having Fit4Cloud within this Oracle domain instills a level of brand confidence. It instills a level of trust as well, where you can, within the familiarity of the Oracle brand, just make it much more easy to explain why we use OCI. So the biggest reason of all is really performance. Well, maybe personally my biggest reason, because I think compared to different platforms such as AWS, Oracle really has nailed the performance, and the way they've set this up on the low-level architecture side with having separate networks is really amazing. It prevents you from having to deal with stuff like noisy neighbors. It's not like a customer in a server across the one we use. Makes it so that our performance is worse. It's really consistent across all environments, and it has been consistent for a while now. So the security, there's a lot of tooling available in OCI, and there's lots of tooling still being added. You've got the web application framework, for example. You can use security testing to test your instances. There's really a lot of tooling available to lower the cost as well. So we don't necessarily have a department full of IT experts, and with the people we do have available, there's so many tools available where you can really manage making sure that the instances are secure and checking everything, which is truly amazing, especially for the cost that you have to pay for this. So, and that's the final one. The key selection criteria is really the cost. It's a very low total cost of ownership. The licensing, the management, is very flexible as well, especially since Oracle has the model where you really only get charged for what you use. So it's up to you to make a very good use of these resources and be smart in how these are assigned. So that's a summary of the key selection criteria.
Yeah, thanks, Michel. And well, that brings us to the end of this short overview on how Epicenter supports Oracle HCM customers with our flexible integration tool, which again covers data migration, ongoing data synchronization between systems, the bidirectional integrations with both payroll systems and enterprise systems, and last but not least, the extensive data scrambling functionality, which we deploy on your non-production environments. And of course, all this made possible by deploying our tooling on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which at the same time increases the security as well as the performance of your ongoing data exchange. So for more information, don't hesitate to reach out to us as per the contact details shown here.
So Jean-Bart, Michel, thank you very much. It is again crystal clear and down really to the point where what the selection criteria were. I think it's very nice to hear how you value and that you value OCI with all the technical capabilities and possibilities, and last but not least also the price and the performance factor in this one. So thank you very much, Jean-Bart, Michel, and this is the last one, as I mentioned, in the series for this fiscal years for ISVs. We had 9 in the series. All of them have been recorded. So please, if you want to look back on them, take a look at the recordings. And with this, all I can say then is see you in fiscal year 22. Have a great summer. Think positive, stay negative, stay safe and healthy. I will close the session then. Thank you, everyone, again.